Go ahead, put it on real tight. Hope you brought your best tonight. They say they got the fireworks, yeah, they say they got the show. You're around the shoots, you're the best, so let's go.
This is Texas Toast. I'm your host, Miss Helen. Kick back and enjoy as we toast the best from Texas.
Cheers, everyone, and welcome to Texas Toast. I'm Miss Helen, welcoming a special guest. I want to welcome John BAUMANN to the Texas Toast podcast. Hello, John. How are you today?
I'm good. I appreciate you pronouncing my last name right.
Yeah, well, it could have went both ways. I did my research because I actually grew up with families that had the same last name as you, but it was pronounced differently. But then I realized you're BAUMANN. So yeah, we want to make sure we get that right, because I'm a stickler about that, because I have like a really funky last name. It's Elshik, and it's spelled just like you say it, but it gets pronounced like wrong like all the time. So anyway, but yes, we're so happy that you're here. We talked about your single that went out to streaming on an episode that we had last week called Texas on Tap and South Texas Tradition, and we'll get to that because you just got some Texas music running in your blood. So you are so gifted with your songwriting. When did you start songwriting?
Probably as like a side hobby when I was in high school, maybe 15 or 16, but I didn't really get serious about it until I was probably 23 or 24. Started playing like open mics and writing songs when I should have been focused at my day job, but I wasn't, so.
So you're a TCU alum, right?
I am, and I'm usually pretty quiet about it, but the fact that the Frogs had such a great season, it was hard to stay quiet. So yes, I am. Class of 2010.
So so did you do music in college, or what did you study in college?
I studied radio, TV, film.
Oh,
which
wow.
was the easiest major I could take. No disrespect to anybody else who has that major, but it was just, there was no math and science. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so that's what I did, and I loved it and had a great experience. I didn't really do music in college. I might play an open mic here and there, but I'm pretty shy with regards to like picking up a guitar, and a little bit of stage fright. Just wasn't really like on the brain back during that time. I was more interested in what was happening Friday night or Tuesday night,
Okay. And so you segued into music from that, but then you become the center of attention on a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, because I know you've done so many shows. But talk about your songwriting process and where your ideas come from, because you have so much variety, like humorous and serious and so deep rooted in Texas.
Yeah, thanks a lot. The process really starts with just noodling, is what I call it. Sitting down with a guitar and like just finding some combination of a picking pattern or chords that are interesting. And it's not easy. It's getting harder because you're starting to run out of options, in some ways, melody wise. But really just tinkering on a guitar or maybe a piano the last couple years, and just finding a melody that's compelling to me, and then just taking the mood or the emotion of that and putting lyrics on top of it that kind of gel with it. That's kind of been my process. There's no routine. It's very sporadic. Sometimes I'll go months without doing anything, and then a week will happen and I'll have 3 songs. It just kind of ebbs and flows.
Nice, nice. So who are some of your writing influences?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I mean, first and foremost, all the guys from the Texas world of the 90s. Kind of Robert was a huge one. Robert Keane and Guy Clark and James McMurtry, Adam Carroll. But as I've gotten older, I've really gotten into Randy Newman and Jackson Brown and Bruce Hornsby, and it's just, as I get older, it's the scope has gotten bigger. So.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about one of your particular songs that you wrote that Kenny Chesney picked up, which is Gulf Moon, which I absolutely love this song because I'm a saltwater girl, and I've spent lots of time in Galveston, but I'm fortunate enough that I live in the salt world and on the coast, and that's just absolutely gorgeous song. And I know that was a big deal for you.
Super big deal. and it's still a big deal. You know, it's probably been 4 years since that happened, but probably the coolest thing that's happened to me. You know, I remember getting picked up from football practice in high school and listening to the Chesney records, you know, on the way home. And, you know, 15 years later, he's singing a song I wrote by myself. But it was really, really special. It was a long, you know, it's supposed to happen 4 or 5 years prior to the date it actually happened. And then things got, I don't know what happened, but it got cut from the record or dropped from the record. And then it got added back 4 years later, and really, really special. And, you know, it's been a really cool thing for me. I'd love to have another one, but I won't be greedy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you've got some good stuff. I want to talk about South Texas tradition because I fell in love with that song last week, and I have to tell you, we broke the rules on the podcast because normally we only preview like two songs, and so I
Yeah.
was like, no, everybody needs to hear this. So, do you hunt?
Oh, that's a great question. You know, not so much, to be completely honest with you. And I
Okay,
think that
so
answer,
yeah, so if you don't hunt, evidently you hang out a lot at deer camp or out dove hunting.
yeah, I don't, you know, I have 3 little kids, so I don't really hunt or fish or golf as much as I once did. And I hope to get back to that at some point with my son as he gets older. But um, hunting, not so much. And that's what's going to shock people when they find out, you know, about, I'm not a big hunter, but I love being in that world or in that vibe or in that kind of deer camp kind of mind. That's such a fun way to get out, and I just love it, and I love being there. And the truth is, since the pandemic, I did a bunch of ranch concerts or deer camp concerts,
Okay.
and that's sort of where some of the pictures for that song started getting put together, combining that with kind of my own experiences and things like that. So yeah, I'm kind of a fraud,
I
but
know,
not
because it,
totally.
yeah, because it was so spot on. Like even the whole, like when we go, we're driving Highway 59, and I mean, it was just like everything in it just like was spot on. So is that case? I know that was just currently released to streaming. Do you have like, is there a new EP going to be coming out, or was that just something you just threw out there?
No, that's the first song on a full record that's coming.
Cool.
So this is kind of the beginning of the rollout, and I'm just kind of sitting back and waiting. I want to see how South Texas Tradition fares over the next 30 to 60 days, but we've got single 2 and single 3 queued up for Q1 and Q2 of next year, and then the rest of the record will drop. So there's a lot more coming, but I really wanted to put some new music out before the end of the year so we could have a little bit of momentum for the new year.
Oh, that was perfect. Absolutely perfect. So talking about some of your music, something that I really liked, Holding It Down. And that's where I saw a lot of Roberto Keane in that one. That was, I really enjoyed that song.
Well, thanks so much. I really like that song too. We don't play it a whole lot, but I'm trying to work it back into the band show. But you know, it's a little. I like songs that have a little bit of attitude, but kind of deep down or a little like self-deprecating at the same time. But I think that was a song I might have written in half an hour. It's not a very complex song, and yeah, West Texas Dust, East Texas Rust. It's a silly song in so many ways, but I'm glad you like it. I like it too.
I like it. It's just one of those like I'm a coastal person, but I'm also a Texas backroads girl, listening and jamming to music. And that just took me back, took me to moments like that. And now a funny song you have is Congratulations.
Yes.
Tell me about
Yes.
that one.
Shoot, I wrote that song probably 10 years ago, which feels so weird to say. I wrote that song kind of at the height of like a lot of friends getting engaged or married, and just being a naive and I don't know what the word is, but I was sort of over the pomp and circumstances of really high dollar weddings really early on. And a lot of times it's just fun to make fun of things, and for no other reason than just to have a laugh. There's no specific person or specific experience. It's just really from a writer's perspective of like trying to look at the ironies and some of the humor and in some of life's, kind of structures. So, but I love that song. I still play it. It's a hoot.
It is a hoot. It's funny, when I ran across that song and I was with my daughter this weekend and we had birthday party for the grandbaby and her mother-in-law was there, which we're all such a tight family. We all just get along so good. And her mother-in-law is so funny. And she said we had like this little utensil holder. It was really cute, these little jars with the handle. And my daughter's looking around and she's like, where did that come from? She said it's still in storage from all the wedding gifts y'all got. And that song made me think, how they do the big registry and you have all this stuff. And then it's like, you don't even realize, daughter didn't even realize that that was part of her registry. It was
Oh
bought
yeah,
for her.
I know that makes me think like I left. That's a whole nother verse idea,
Yes.
That would have been great.
Okay, and then we'll move on. I do have to talk about one more song that touched my heart and just almost I teared up. Texas Dead. Now that's a Texas
Sure.
song right there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah. I wrote that song during the pandemic. I only wrote 2 songs in 2020. I was very unproductive. But I just wanted to. That's like a weaving of my life a little bit with not my life. Like the high school football injury, and I can't remember the verse now. I'm blanking. But yeah, like I tore up my leg playing high school football, and that's what led me to guitar. And I was really into Charlie and Bruce and Lyle
Hmm.
and Keen, and the whole verse about working on a rig offshore was baloney. Like that's not me, but I just felt like it was a cool concept to have a guy working offshore and then coming home for the weekend, he's cutting loose. And then my grandpa bought a piece of land outside of Lockhart in the 1920s that's been in my family for 100 years, and
Mm.
I wanted to give a little bit of a hat tip to that in that song. But yeah, that's been a fun and special song to play, and I hope I can play it for a long time.
I like it. And speaking of Bruce Robinson, now you're under his management.
I was for a while there. I'm now working with a group out of Tennessee, but Bruce and we have a great relationship, a long-standing relationship. We did a bunch of shows back in 2018 together, and then we teamed up for some Panhandler stuff, and then teamed up to manage. And then sort of with the pandemic, the whole music business was just on its side, as you can probably remember.
Oh yes.
So, but still good buddies. He sent me flowers, sent my wife flowers when we had our twins about 4 months ago. So,
Oh, congratulations. You have
yeah,
twins.
yeah, we have twins and we have a 3-year-old. So we are tired, but we'll be all right.
Oh, that's amazing. So twin girls, boys, or
Yeah, identical girls. Pretty crazy.
wow.
So, yeah. So
That's
we're hoping
awesome.
people really love South Texas tradition and they love the new record and they come to shows because babies need shoes.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Y'all are busy. You have your hands full. And then
yeah,
especially right here at Christmas time.
yeah. No, it's all good. It's great.
Oh,
Very blessed. Very
that's
grateful.
wonderful. Wonderful. Speaking of the Panhandlers, super group Panhandlers, man, that's some amazing stuff. When I noticed that where Cotton is King, is that something y'all just released to streaming or has that been out for a while?
Yeah, we just released it probably, I think it was October, first weekend of October. So, with music, I feel like it takes anywhere from 1 day to 6 months for it to sort of make its journey. Some people catch stuff a week after it comes out. Some people hear it a year after it comes out. But, in my mind, October was yesterday, especially in releasing music. So, yeah, it was cool.
So tell me about that. That is that like a side project for you guys? Of course, it's Josh Abbott, William Clark Green, and Cleto. Y'all are all involved in that. And I mean, three of my favorites plus you. I mean, what a great combination. So tell me how y'all find time to get together and record.
It's not easy. There's a lot of coordination. There's a lot of moving parts. We're all busy. But we've made time for it, and we've made time for a couple of writing retreats, and we've made time to make a couple of records, and we probably played 3 or 4 shows this year, which isn't a lot, but just for how many people are involved, the band is very big. I think there's 11 of us on stage.
Wow.
It's a huge operation. But just kind of sacrifice and do it for the good of the cause. But we all enjoy it, and but it's definitely not easy to put us all together. But when we do, it's a good time.
I could only imagine how hard it is to get all of y'all together. And of course, another great song coming from that is West Texas is Best Texas. That's such a
Yeah.
good one. Love it. Love it. Love it. So do y'all have any plans of any shows coming up in the future for your super group?
That's very kind of you to say, that we're a super group. We're just four knuckleheads that play acoustic
I
guitar,
know.
but
Y'all are all dynamic. I mean, it's just amazing to get all of
yeah.
y'all together.
Yeah, well, thanks so much. You know, I think there'll be some things next year. I think we have some more songs to put out, a full record to put out in the spring, and I imagine we'll probably do at least a handful of shows around that or to support that. Probably somewhere between April and July. I do know we have some things in the works, but I can't speak about them yet
Right,
because I don't know
right.
how it's. I would if I knew more details, but
Right. But that's exciting to know. That's exciting to know. I think that's something exciting for a lot of us Texas country music fans. And so, speaking of shows, what about you? You stay pretty busy.
yeah, staying pretty busy. And, it kind of has been a weird year with the twins coming and taking a little time off and then getting busy. I know that January is a pretty slow month, but we get back to it in February. We're doing a couple shows with Josh Abbott at the House of Blues in Houston and Dallas, and we're playing a show in Kerrville at the Arcadia Theater on February 18th. And then to wrap up this year, we're playing Fort Worth December 30th at Tulips early show. So been a busy end of the year.
Right. Well, looking forward to 2023. Well, South Texas tradition will take us out and take us into the next year. And anything else we need to cover before we wrap it up?
I just want to say thanks for taking time and thank you for asking good questions. Every now and then you don't get very good questions and you're like, what are we doing here? So I just wanted to say thank you so much. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Well, I fought for Texas music way back in the late 90s when I was in radio to get it on the air. Get it on the air.
Yeah,
Let's get it out there because that's who everybody was going to see. And our
true.
Texas music industry has grown so much. And then luckily we're so blessed to still have the veterans like you that have been there from the beginning. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And we're so excited to see what else you have coming up. And one last question I do have before I let you go. If you were a cocktail, what would you be?
I think the answer would be a Chilton. West Texas, vodka soda, salt, lemon, lots of lemon. I think that would be my drink.
Oh, that's my kind of drink. Nice. I love it. Love it. Love it. Well, John
Yeah.
Baumann, thank you so much for joining us on Texas Toast, and we'll be following along and looking forward to what you have coming up.
All right. Thank you guys again. I appreciate it, Alan.
And with a heavy tongue, she knew where I was from. As she left, I dared to say, well, you can go to hell. Hell, I'll go to Texas. I've had my fill of every place but home.